Folks, before starting this video, I wanted to give a heartfelt thank you to everyone who has supported me over the last few weeks. It's been a little bit rough. I had an old teacher, coach, and current mentor that tragically was passed away due to a car accident. And between that and work being busy, I've had to take a step away from the channel for a few weeks, but we are back online. I just really wanted to thank you. I read all of the comments. I try to respond to all of them, and I really appreciate not only the comments but the emails. Once again, showing that this community of hobbyists are absolutely wonderful people. So thank you for that. In coming back online, what I wanted to do is provide an update on this tank, the 36-gallon, and I wanted to answer a few questions I've received. I've received comments from YouTubers asking what plants grow well in deep tanks. I'm certainly no expert, but I can share my experience as usual and show you what plants have worked for me and what plants haven't. So in this video coming up, what plants work well in deep tanks and have worked for me, and in the course of that I will update you on the 36-gallon Bowfront coming up. Folks, to start this video, I'm going back in time about 5 months to November 24th, 2017. When I first set up this tank, I did spend some money on the substrate, going with ADA's Amazonia Aqua Soil. I was curious about this substrate because I have never really had great substrate. I've used Eco Complete, I've used Seachem Fluorite, not that they're bad, but I really wanted to spend the money and see how the plants responded to this substrate. Here is the initial planting phase once I was done on November 24th, and here is where we were 3.5 months after the initial planting phase. You can see the plant growth starting, and here is where we are after 5 months with the
guy. Name is Food Man. Yeah, say he's not too smart. Act cute, they'll feed you more.
They don't.
So when you see him, just turn on the cute. We'll eat like kings.
Guys, I can hear everything you're saying right now. I'm right here.
Oh, God, you heard us. Scatter.
Great scatter. That's really going to work well later. But to answer the question about what plants grow well in deep tanks, this tank is 21 inches tall from top to bottom, and I thought this would be a good example and share my experience with some tanks. So coming up, we're going to get deep on what plants worked for me, what plants haven't, what I'm feeding them, the lighting, and my water parameters. What?
Food Man, reminder, don't forget to tell how you can't grow wiggy leg.
What are you talking about?
The red wiggy leg you killed?
Okay, bye, buddy. You mean the Ludwig Ii? Anyway, folks, we're going to start on the left-hand side of the tank. This is the red Rubens Sword. You can see the initial planting phase on November 24th and where we are 5 months later. Great growth out of this plant. I was very impressed with the way it reacted to the substrate. Here's the Cripwenti. I planted in front of the driftwood. This is on November 24th of 2017, and here's where we are now. Great growth and great color, I might add, to the plant. The Wenti I planted in front of my Dragonstone rock cave has done very well, and it is starting to send out runners not only in the front of the plant but in the back of the plant. So all this was very encouraging. I planted Rotala rotundifolia a month after the initial planting. So after 4 months of growth, you can see where the Rotala went. I need to trim this, but I was very impressed with the way this plant reacted to the substrate, the lighting, and the parameters. And of course, Hornwort, a plant I had to take out because this grew almost an inch a week and was just getting too big for the tank, collecting too much detritus. And why is taking up the whole screen? 1 second, folks. I'm sorry. So overall, with this substrate, fantastic growth out of the plants. Now here's the Ludwigia that the Blue Beta was referring to. Folks, I didn't get a whole lot of great growth out of this. I don't feel that my lighting is strong enough for this to grow. I have one stem left. It's hanging on, but it's not really thriving. And I have a nice algae, driftwood goatee, that I like so much. It's a nice little ball. I decided to just keep it there and save it. So in summary, the plants that have worked very well in a deep tank, red Rubens Sword, as most swords do, at least in my experience, seem to do very well in deep tanks. Cripwenti, as most crips seem to do well in deep tanks. Rotala rotundifolia did very well. Hornwort, all of my Anubias and Bucephalandra did very well. And of course, my driftwood goatee, I'm going to keep there. So those are some of the plants I've played with this tank. Now, what am I feeding it? I use Nylock G's Thrive twice a week to fertilize the water column.
And that has a lot of macronutrients, some micros, but to get extra micros, I use Seachem Trace twice a week. I do replace root tabs, even in this great substrate, every 3 months, the combination of Flourish tabs and API root tabs, and I do dose Seachem Excel daily in this tank. That helps the Anubias out a lot. With the lighting, I'm using a Phoenix 24/7 SE, much improved over the original 24/7. I do run this on 24/7 mode. This light has a lot more red spectrum, less green spectrum, so much better plant growth. I have less algae growth, and this light does turn off between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. So again, much improved over the original 24/7, and I do have a video on that original 24/7 up on the channel. Now my water parameters, I run a pH at about 7.7, zero ammonia nitrites. My nitrates always run about 80 ppm. It's the way our water is. I have very hard water, so a lot of minerals. So with these plants, if you choose to try them in your tank, keep my parameters in mind, my lighting in mind, but this is what has worked for me. So hopefully this has been helpful to any of you wondering what plants work well in a deep tank. The den is now on Instagram at dmichaelsfishden. Join me if you are so inclined. And folks, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe for future content. And thanks for watching.